The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were, and here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcome should be. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope you guys all had an incredible weekend. Did you guys have a good weekend? SK, Nam, how was your weekends?
It was good.
Yeah,
It was really good. Yeah, we actually had a babysitter this weekend. We don't usually have that.
Nice.
Freezing cold
What-
down here. It was
Define freezing cold.
34 degrees.
Wow.
34 degrees. Freezing cold. Super
Wow.
cold. But
That's
our
not
swimming pool,
cold.
they started digging our swimming pool. So they were digging our swimming pool on the 2 coldest days of the entire year.
That's not cold, dude. So
Yeah.
Patriot Lad and I, you want to talk about cold? Patriot Lad and I did some manly man things this weekend. So we had to get my tractor out of my barn and get it over to my house. And it was 5 degrees outside when we were doing it. And it was an event. It took us about 3 hours to get the tractor out of the barn, plow the driveway that's a third of a mile long, replace the implement on there, get it loaded up and get it over to the place that we're at right now. And he was an absolute stud. Almost 15 years old, jumping up and down on this implement, trying to get the third point attached. And it was awesome. So I was bragging about him all day today, people at work. Like, that was fun. It's like manly things. You're done with it and you're like, yeah, I feel good about that. It was cold as hell, but we got it done. Folks, we have what I think is going to be, I think this is going to be a fun show tonight. I think this is going to be a lot of fun because like I said in my promo video, one of the things that I really enjoy doing is dragging the ever-loving crap out of the left. And we're going to have a chance to do that today because we've got some pretty cool topics. Did you guys see that the Podfather came back today? Did you see that? The Podfather is back. He's back. And I don't think he could have come back at a more perfect time. I don't think he could have. We also have a special guest with us today. She's going to be joining us here momentarily, but we're going to get through the intro part and then we'll bring her up. Those of you who grew up in the 80s, like us three did, you may remember the movie series Revenge of the Nerds, which was one of my favorite movie series. I love those shows. They're wildly inappropriate for kids today. I'll tell you that. My kids will not be watching that anytime soon. But nonetheless, we have our own version of Revenge of the Nerds playing out in our culture right now. And we actually have one of the most talented, the most important accounts on all of X is joining us again. DataRepublican is here. She's going to be in the studio in just a few minutes. Did you guys hear that Don Lemon? And by the way, I call him Don Lemon for a reason. I know that his name is Don Lemon. But there was about a week period, it's a couple years ago, where he tried to change his name to Don Lemon, and it sounded as ridiculous as you would expect it to. And then last, did you guys see the Moab that happened last week? Holy crap, we didn't do a Friday episode, and an absolute Moab bomb was dropped on the heads of everybody who's been demanding the Epstein files for the last 9 months, and now they are wishing with all that is good and holy that they had not been doing that. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff today. Before we jump in, guys, we are really close over on the Patriot Source podcast. Actually, is it the Patriot Source podcast X account? Is that what we still call, or do we change the name of it?
No, it's
No,
still
it is-
PSP or
Yeah.
PS Pod 25.
PS Pod 25 at PS Pod 25. The name of it is Patriot Source Network, but it's you can't change the at. So it's at PS Pod 25.
We are like within like spitting distance of hitting 3,000 followers on that account over on X. So go over to the X account at PS Pod 25 and hit the little like button or follow button so that we can get over 3,000. Why? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're not monetized on there. Nobody cares. But still, it's just a little milestone.
I don't know.
You
SK
guys,
was
we got a
talking about it
super
all
chat.
day. We do. SK was talking about it all day. So I figured let's get, she wants to get over 3,000. So let's do it. Super chat. There's a little bit of cheddar patriotic critical thinker, threw a little bit of cheddar out there just to kind of, seed the ground.
I mean, that's a good way to start.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
So, thank you, patriotic cheddar.
Folks, get your super chats in, get your Rumble rants in, get your questions in. We will make sure that we stop what we're doing and address them because they are that important. We don't do this show we do kind of do this show for us because it's fun for us, but we do this show for you guys. I mean, we do this because we know that there is an enormous amount of information flowing around out there that is really, really hard for any single person to be able to accumulate and make sense of and try to figure out what the hell's happening in the world. So we hope that we can bring you a condensed version of the things that are really important. So we're doing this for you, right? So we'll prioritize your comments and your questions. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow and do all that stuff, because not only do we want to do this for you, but we want to do it for a lot more people. So the Podfather came back today and absolutely broke the internet, broke it, like destroyed it in ways that I don't know if they were planning. Maybe, I don't know. I guess there was like a massive DDoS attack when Dan Bongino's show started. Maybe Rumble was prepared for it because it didn't seem to actually disrupt the show. The show seemed to have gone on. But it was awesome. I watched about the first 45 minutes of it. And I know everyone was expecting Dan Bongino to go bonkers, but he didn't. I thought he was pretty measured. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, maybe, we got another one. Hold on. There's another one. Look, there's another one right there. Another super chat. Super sticker. Thank you, GR Patriot. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Do you want to bring her in?
Well, hold on real
Yeah,
quick. Before we do,
don't make her
hold on
wait.
real quick. Don't make her wait. Real quick, someone asked me to put this up on the screen at PS Pod 25. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Okay. We're getting her up here. Let's go.
Let's go.
People in the chat are saying it's officially at 3,000.
Yes.
Sweet. All right.
Nice
We're
work.
bringing her up. Here she comes.
Nice work.
Ladies and gentlemen, DataRepublican.
The one and only.
Yes.
The one and only. You're going to have to change to the 4-person view.
I'm working on it. Hold on. Stand by.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
4-person.
There she
There
is.
she is.
Oh, no. We got switched. Hold on. We got to move. There we go. That's more like it. Hi. Our favorite DataRepublican, who is probably the most important account on X today and has been for quite a while.
Yeah.
For those of you guys that don't know, what she does is she's basically a like a ninja that understands AI engineering. And if you think you're going to get away with anything with her around, it's not going to happen because she's amazing. She's amazing. She's fantastic.
She's texting me. Her thing is still not working. And, this is a laid back podcast. It's not like all professional and all that. So I'm going to read her texts to you guys. And she said, first, I see both co-conspirators in the chat. Bitch, you need soap. And Astra, I want to give them a shout out and tell them thanks. She said they really are the heroes of this week.
Yeah.
Who
for
are
sure.
they?
There's a
Bitch,
couple
You
of
Need
them. I saw them
Soap.
too.
It's on X, Bitch You Need Soap, and Astra.
Oh.
I can't remember the full username.
Oh, bitch, you need soap.
Yeah.
I don't see the X
did you
chats
guys-
coming in.
Did you guys get that photo? Did I put it? I don't think I put it in the Dropbox. The one
Gotta
that's
put it in
I
the
did.
Dropbox.
It wouldn't come up. I couldn't get it to load up. Patriot Dad, if you can get it to come up
Well,
here.
What is it that I'm trying to get?
the Revenge of the Nerds thing that I made with DataRepublican.
Oh,
And it has Astra and
It failed. It kept failing.
What do you mean it kept failing?
she
When I
said
was trying to bring it up, it kept failing.
That's
She's-
hogwash.
she said that she gets a lot of tips, a lot of direct messages, and she said that this one by Bitch You Need Soap landed on the top of her DMs for some reason. So she read it, which is what happened when I sent her a message. It was just at the top. And that's how this all happened.
Well, let's do this first. I want to spend a considerable amount of time on the Revenge of the Nerds episode that's playing out because it's amazing. But first, I think we need to give credit where credit is due because the Podfather is back, and I want to make sure that those of you who missed the Podfather get a chance to see the message that he left for us. Did you guys know that he sent a message out to all of us I mean, not us directly, of course, because he probably doesn't know who we are. Or
What? We're
maybe
like
he does.
basically famous. We have DataRepublican on this podcast. What are you talking about? And everyone needs to go follow her. I looked at her account today and she's almost at 1 million followers.
Yeah, if you're not following her yet, what are you doing? It's the best account on X. I'm telling you right now, it's incredible. All right, Nam, can you do me a favor and pull up Podfather? I think it's called Podfather. Pull up number 1 because I have two.
Bongino Group 1.
Yeah, I have 2 clips from Dan Bongino. The first one is a message that he sent out to all of us, and I think it's important that you know that he's been thinking about us and wanted to acknowledge that the fact that over the last year, while he was doing the heavy lifting in the FBI, and we can talk about some of the incredible success that the FBI has had under his leadership, and maybe we'll run through that real quick. But he had a message for us. Nam, can you play the first message for us? Okay, let's do that.
I really can't thank you enough. Good cases and good police work takes time. Listen,
made a shampoo.
I wish it didn't, but good cases, good police work, and personnel changes take time. You can do all these things the wrong way, or you can do them the right way. But the right way to do them is never going to be the quick way. I used to say to everyone at the Bureau, you know, fast is smooth, smooth is fast. But good cases take time. We are not the War Department. We can't just give an order and have something enacted immediately. There's a process. There are United States attorneys you have to work with. The Justice Department, when I was there, was dealing with a lot of U.S. attorneys who were legacy Biden, even Obama holdovers who just didn't want to do their job. So AG Bondi gave him the boot and said, get out. And, you know, Todd and them from the DAG, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, they said, you got to go. You don't want to do your job, get out of here. So you're dealing with process. You're dealing with some judges who are not, hurt us in a lot of these cases as well. It's not an excuse for anything. It's just an explanation. So the supporters who understood that this stuff takes time and judged us on the record, I really appreciate that. You guys and ladies have been with me from the beginning. I read a lot of your stuff and I owe you huge, man. I really appreciate me, going in there and having that bedrock of support on the outside. I used to say on the show before I left, everything in this business, in the opinion business, is sound bites and snapshots. It's headlines and sound bites. It's all it is. That's what people remember. Clipping is the way a lot of people get recognition online. A lot of people watch the whole show. Some people don't. Sound bites and snapshots matter. It's the exact opposite in federal law enforcement. It is not sound bites and snapshots. It is a very slow, methodical process. Getting subpoenas, doing the work, doing the investigative work, getting the data aggregated to make a case that can pass judicial muster and that probable cause hurdle. So it's the exact opposite. So big thank you to our supporters. Love you guys. You're the best. That's the first group of people and the best of this lot. Second,
the best.
So that's important. The message that he just was saying there was important, and we're gonna come back to the Podfather here in a little bit because I want to get to Jenica and I want to get to DataRepublican and what she's doing. But it's important to understand what he was talking about at the end of that, where he's talking about this is not like the Department of War. Everybody wants accountability, right? They want. Why aren't these people being arrested? Why aren't all these stop protesters who are involved in seditious conspiracy? Why aren't they being arrested? He just explained it to you. We've explained it to you 100 times if we explained it to you twice. Because the legal system does not work quickly, especially at the federal level, which is what he's explaining. And I think that dovetails very nicely into the work that DataRepublican and some of her friends have been involved in. Because I don't know if you guys saw this or not. What happened? Did you do that?
Take that down. I got the Revenge of the Nerds thing.
I didn't do that.
No, I did. You have to take that down and replace it. All right.
Okay.
You ready?
Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah.
Oh, we got all switched up again.
Stop pushing buttons, dude. I swear to God, stop pushing. You're screwing this up. Stop pushing buttons. Leave the buttons to me. Anyway,
all right, you push the buttons.
So did you guys notice? Did you guys see last week? So y'all remember when Cam Higbee, when he infiltrated the Stop ICE signal chat group up there in Minnesota, right? And then once that expose happened, the real nerds got involved. Folks like DataRepublican, Jenica, and a few of her friends. I'm sure 0 Hour probably played some role, but there's a number of others like Bitch You Need a Shower and a few others.
By the way, and that is probably the coolest X name ever.
It's Bitch You Need Soap.
Beach you
Oh,
need
you mean
soap.
same thing. Bitch, you need soap. Same thing.
It's the
Means
coolest
the
name
same
ever.
thing. I apologize. It is hilarious. And what they decided to do was, instead of just like exposing like the organization at the tactical level of how these how they were capturing these license plates and how they were, you know, dispatching people to places, they decided to dig deep into the source code and start trying to figure out who these people were and what they were doing. So maybe, Jenica, can you start like explaining the process and the methodology of what it is you guys went through? If you can, I don't know if you want to expose too much about how you actually got access to it, but at some point throughout the weekend, everybody in the Stop ICE application, signal chats, and other apps that are out there started to see these sorts of messages pop up in their platforms and in their applications. And those messages were basically saying, hey, we've scraped all of your information. We've scraped your usernames. We've scraped your passwords. We've scraped your locations. We've scraped the GPS coordinates, the latitude, the longitude. We know who you are. And
Well-
we've sent all of that information to the FBI.
Well, but hold on, because no one has taken any responsibility for any of this stuff. She
Sure.
got a message in her inbox, and they said that they had something important, and she was like, email it to me. I get a high volume of those, but this one made her back stand up straight. She said, and we kind of got pulled into this investigative group run by a journalist that she can't name yet. And she said that it's kind of a cybersecurity collective. And she said, again, to be clear, nobody's claiming responsibility for any hacks, but they did validate these security holes do exist. And she said, the websites are horribly coded, and it's a sad commentary in itself. It used to be that the left-wing activists had the sharpest coders, and now the roles are completely reversed. And the stopice.net site is completely lying when they say a breach didn't happen. And she did give that information to me to prove that too. I have seen it. There's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of people.
Yeah.
too.
We've got all of it. So basically what has come out of all of this, right? So these folks that were able to get access to the back end of the Stop ICE web pages and these applications, they scraped all the data out of it. They have all of it. It's all been compiled. It's all been correlated. It's all been enumerated, and these people have been tracked down. Like, their identities are known. We've got lists and spreadsheets of names, and what they've found from these names is almost up and down the entire thing. These are people, these are elected officials that are involved in this. These people that are mayors, we've got school board members, we've got Congress people that are involved in this. Up and down the political spectrum on the Democrat Party, they are in here, they are coordinating, they are engaged in criminal activity, because what the Stop ICE groups are doing is criminal activity. This is seditious conspiracy. Okay. So what DataRepublican was referring to, while she's continuing to type it, SK, stop me if she's got more that you want to read. Once they found these vulnerabilities, go ahead.
She said, yes, the federal agencies are working on this data and are well aware of it. The Homeland Security says, quote, thank you, mystery hacker. It's like a Rosetta Stone in many respects. And I wish it could be released. Just shut up the skeptics, but we aren't assholes. She said the rule I'm operating by is, and she's typing.
Hey, can I just point out that there are over 5,000 people watching this live right now?
Why did you have
Are you
to say
serious?
that?
Holy
Okay.
crap.
All right.
keep going.
Does this, she said the rule I'm operating by is, does this action increase law and order, or does it simply increase chaos or ego? And if there's one thing I've learned about DataRepublican, it is that she is extremely genuine. She won't do anything that is nefarious or bad. And I was really pissed off at all you people typing all bullshit in the comments when she posted her TikTok post. I knew something big was coming, and all these haters were in the comments talking about she's engagement farming, blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
Wait, hold on, hold on,
you know how
hold on.
I am.
Hold on. You mean all the fake ass, black pilled, America first losers that spend their entire existence on social media engagement farming with propaganda, lies, and fantasy land nonsense from Candace Owens and her crazy cult following? They had a problem with somebody teasing the truth that was getting ready to come out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
pound
some
sand.
stuff
All of
came
you,
up.
pound sand.
She posted that, and then some things came up in their investigation, and things kind of had to go a little bit of a different direction with some of the investigation. So it took a little longer, and people were getting pissed. And I'm like, why are people? When has DataRepublican not ever come through? A, but B, when has she not ever brought receipts? So sit down, shut your cake hole, and wait for the information to come out. She said that the TikTok post was very much related to taking out 3 ICE websites. She said not as huge as the stopice.net, but along the way, we found something very shocking. They found something very shocking. And she said she's bound to secrecy on the request of the journalist who's writing about this all.
Oh, so there's
She said
more
I
that we
can
don't,
give
that we
some
haven't seen yet?
preview of it. I
So
don't know
there's
what
more?
I'm allowed to say.
Don't say anything. Just answer this. There's more? There's more coming?
There's more coming.
Yes.
There's a journalist that's going to write an article about some of the things that they found, and it is really disturbing. I was researching some of it today. I mean, it's their playbook that I talk about all the time. It's very much in line with their playbook, and they're exchanging some information in some of these groups that I'm sure is of great relevance to the authorities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could mean a lot of things, right? So one of the things that I wanted to point out here is, I mean, there was so much I was going through today in her threads and her posts trying to figure out what to bring in and what to talk about. So while she's typing that up, what we need to fully comprehend and fully grasp about what's going on with the Stop ICE and all these other sites is this is a well-funded, well-orchestrated, seditious conspiracy. I didn't capture any of this in highlights, but if you look at some of the quotes, right? So like down here halfway through, this right here is Marcia Howard. She's a Minneapolis teacher union chief, and she admitted to terrorist-linked Al Jazeera. She's talking to freaking Al Jazeera that elected officials in Minnesota are participating in the anti-ICE signal chats. Down here, the notion that people that are actively engaged in ICE watch and being vigilant and protecting our neighbors in signal chat groups, running plates and in their cars doing patrols, that somehow we're ashamed of that activity, that somehow you could call our bosses and show our faces and then would be shunned by our community. She goes on to say, our bosses are in the signal chats with us. Our elected officials are in the chats with us. Everybody up and down the political spectrum on the left is engaged in this, and this is seditious conspiracy. What they are doing is they are planning, they're orchestrating to impede, to obstruct, and stop the implementation of federal law. I will remind everybody that's listening, there were 2 groups, right? The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, who were charged and convicted with seditious conspiracy based solely on their electronic communications in chat groups like Signal, like Telegram, and like Parler, and they were not even at January 6th. They weren't even on the Capitol grounds, and they were charged and convicted with seditious conspiracy because they conspired, supposedly, allegedly, to stop the implementation of federal law, which is the count of the electoral votes. That's just a fact.
And I'll give you guys a little bit more of a hint on some of the things that were found going on and being discussed in these groups. They have mentioned specific weapons like AK-47s. They're talking about violence, and it appears as though they're starting to get more organized. And just like today with the roadblocks that they set up, we're starting to see some of that unfolding. They're starting to set up roadblocks and ask for people's papers. And it's a little bit scary that, these things might be escalating.
It is escalating. It's escalating on purpose. Folks, I hope you understand that what the radical left is trying to accomplish across the spectrum is regime change. They are doing it through their narrative, through their rhetoric, and they're doing it in practice on the ground. This is an effort for them to be able to impede, obstruct, and stop the implementation of federal law. And then they take their propagandists, their media arms, their liars, their frauds, all of those people who are driving narratives like you saw Harry Sisson and you saw all the loser class of the Democrat propaganda mouthpieces talking about how all of their feeds on social media were MAGA voters who said that they're abandoning Donald Trump and they can't take it anymore. That messaging has gone out. It's all designed to do one thing. It's designed for regime change. This is the stage of the color revolution they're at right now, is to convince the American people that everybody is against Donald Trump and the MAGA base, which is not true. And we showed it last week, to try to get to a place where they can drive regime change. This is what color revolutions are designed to do.
Yes.
And you're watching it.
Yes, exactly. And she's telling me a little bit about the process. And you guys know I'm actually retarded when it comes to technology. So
I am not. I am not.
I'll just read what she wrote. And those of you guys that know technology can just translate it, I guess.
I will translate it. And I'll explain to her how I can do this.
She said, the other thing we're doing is we're leaning into OpenClaw hard. You know, the AI agent that's been going viral because they're LARPing to each other like idiot Redditors on Moltbook. No, I don't know what any of those words mean. We're still getting an infrastructure set up, but Bitch I Need Soap is already kind of setting up automated signal group infiltrators, and she's retooling the entire 990 discovery process into a database infrastructure. And she said, basically, it means we're automating this whole follow the money and infiltrate the groups trail.
Oh,
and
man.
she thinks it's going to get increasingly harder for them to hide. Now,
you're muted.
You just muted yourself, SK.
Okay, my bad. See, technology. I set my phone down and it hit the button. But I think we put her website into the description box. And if you guys have not checked out her website, you should do that, because you can search 990s. You can search for nonprofits. You can put in like board names, and you can put in whole lists of board names, and it will cross-reference and it'll tell you boards that they share together. It's a great resource if you're researching anything. It's amazing. You can see all of the grants, all the funding. You can see the money flow from the federal government on down. It's incredible. And also, if you want to support her work, you can subscribe to her on X, or you can also go to her website and make a donation to support her work, because she does this full time and she's saving the country. She's an actual superhero.
That's right. That's right. There are some actual heroes in this country today, and I can't think of a single one that's more of a hero than DataRepublican. The work that she has done has been immeasurably important for the future of this country. And the fact that she is now taking the next step to be able to automate the ability to track how these people are funding and financing their color revolution is incredible. Folks, please, if you were thinking about doing a super chat on this channel, don't do one for the next month. Go to her website, make a donation to her page, help this incredible woman to continue to support the work that she's doing. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but she was doxxed heavily months and months ago and was forced to leave her career and take her family and run into hiding because of the violent threats that she was getting simply for asking questions and using technology to give answers.
Yeah, she wasn't making things up. She was literally connecting dots that only AI and machine learning and LLMs can do, right? And she was doxxed and she was chased out of her career for using technology that you spent her entire life learning how to freaking do. And it turns out the information that she was exposing, one, is true, and two, is very damning for a lot of people.
That's right.
So yeah, please support her if you can.
That's right.
Yes. And about her website, she said that the website's likely to go through a do-over soon. Her own OpenClaw is right now identifying and grouping hierarchies. The hardest part of Follow the Money has been reconciling so many entities under the same people. Like, for instance, Pierre Omidyar has like 10 foundations with very different names. And I said to her, he's behind the Democracy Fund Network too, the website that I found, one of those ones in the posts that we did together that have like the looks like cancer that just spreads everywhere. It's one of those websites. I think he's one of the funders behind that, but that's where all the organizations have grouped under to go for their funding. And she said that she does think that that's right, that it is that guy. And she said the organizations are structured so they have a split nonprofit and PAC and 501c4 structure. And just for the record, the 501c4 structure is there's actually like a business and then there's nonprofit, but they can also lobby to politicians. And she said they exchange money like that through between their different like PACs and 501c3s and 501c4s. They all just hand money back and forth. She said the AI is automatically.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question for Jenica. And you can't, I know you can't answer it now, but this is a big data question. Is it known how many of these 501c3s and 501c4s that are engaged in this color revolution, like the Omademic, whatever dude that guy's name was, who has like a dozen that are tied to him? How many of these 501c3s and 501c4s exist, as opposed to how many legitimate charities are actually doing charitable work in the country? I know that that's probably a significant query to try to figure out and understand, but I'm wondering if there's more of these fake ass charities that are doing no charitable work at all, as opposed to ones who are actually doing charitable work.
There has to be thousands of them.
I think that you're
tens of thousands.
I think that you're probably correct in assuming that there's probably more that are not actual like charitable organizations. They think that they are because some of them actually believe the stuff that they're pushing. But there is enormous amounts of money and tens of thousands just in the one IMIP, like that whole ecosystem. Their own thing says that there's over 10,000 organizations working together to, defend democracy, to generate democracy, to further their idea of democracy, which isn't democracy at all, by the way. She said that the organizations have that split structure. She said that the AI is just automatically grouping those EINs together into legible organizations. So Follow the Money is so much easier now. And she did say your question was a great question. She said that she thinks the thing to understand here is that the color revolution to them is not discrete. It's an ongoing, continuous process to shape society into their ideal. Right now, it's more violent because Trump is president, but it's always continuous in every country in a sense. She said, but yeah, they're all part of the same ecosystem. Like the foundations were never created independently of the federal government or State Department. Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, after restructuring, were all staffed with senators, State Department, and Department of War. And then you have the OSS and CIA were created, and those were staffed by those same foundation members. She said it's a very incestuous thing. You just have to understand the nonprofits, the big foundations are our true government. It's not whoever's in Congress. So, and she's 100% correct on that. I mean, that definitely, she said, I hope that answers your question. It does. She said it's the biggest industry in the world, and it is. And you have to consider also, now that Trump's in office, he's let all these U.S. Institute of Peace people go. He's shut down, all the USAID stuff. And those employees had to go somewhere. A lot of them went to nonprofits. A lot of them started nonprofits. A lot of them already had nonprofits, and they just furthered their whole idea of democracy. They've turned what they usually do in other countries, like in Ukraine and Georgia, North Africa, all these places where they've had color revolutions before. They've just turned their attention on the United States, and that's what they're doing here right now, currently, with this protesting that's going on. I've told you guys from the time we've had this podcast, all the way back to last year in January, when I was in those protest groups, They've been pushing all of this, the whole idea of finding a flashpoint to be able to push this protest like they did with George Floyd and the Summer of Love. And they've been trying and they haven't been able to find one that'll catch on. And this one has sort of started to catch on, but I think there's still such a huge percentage of the country that is in favor of all the deportations that they're having a hard time getting enough people on board.
We've already talked about the statistics around this. So CNN and everybody else has been running data on the support for the Trump agenda is still overwhelmingly in the majority of people who support mass deportations. We know that. We know that these lunatic leftists continue to overplay their hands. I saw in the comments just a little bit ago, somebody very upset that their daughter went to go pick up, I think it was a grandma whose daughter went to go pick up their child at school and walked in on an anti-ICE protest at an elementary school. There's videos all over social media right now of parents pulling their children out of schools because they are driving this propaganda narrative through the public. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but SK made a really important point. She talked about them trying to create flashpoints. There's a reason why, if you go in and read the documentation that these lunatic leftists publish, because they put it out there for everyone to see, there's a reason why they're using the same language. They talk about creating flashpoints all over the place. They talk about it because they are trying to create situations that they think they can turn around, use against the American people to gain sympathy. So when you see people like Renee Good, when you see people like Alex Pretty going out into the streets and doing things that are likely to get them killed, there's a reason for it. It's because they're being nudged to do it. They're being encouraged to do it. You've got the lieutenant governor of the state of Minnesota who talks about in her campaign speeches being willing to put your body on the line. Folks, these guys are serious. They're stupid, but they're serious. They're not joking.
I keep telling people, I don't know how many of you, if you're a female and you've been pregnant, you know, but toxoplasmosis, okay? It's that parasite that cats spread. And what happens is mice get toxoplasmosis and it like hypnotizes the mice into not being afraid of their predator, the cat. It almost makes them kind of like fall in love with them. They're kind of hypnotized by it and they don't run away from the danger that they should instinctively know is danger. And I keep relating this situation back to that. It's almost like these people have some sort of parasite and the left has hypnotized them into doing whatever it is that they say and not running from the danger that they should instinctively know. This is why you have women taking their children to protest. This is why you have pregnant women out at protests and then people all up in arms because they got hit with a non-lethal round. Why is a pregnant woman at a protest that you know is volatile and could become violent?
Well, they're trying to create that exact situation, right? They're taking their kids there so that their kids will be hit with pepper spray or, pepper balls or whatever non-lethal. They want it to happen so they can have that viral moment. There's no other reason to do it. Say, well, my kid needs to be engaged in this civic experience. No, your kid's freaking 3 years old. Your kid does not. Your kid is 8 years old. Your kid does not need to be out there watching violence in the street as you are breaking federal law and obstructing and assaulting federal police officers. I'm sorry. I don't care how much of a hero you think you are. You're not. You're actually just an insurrectionist verging on seditionist.
Yep, that's right. Hey, real quick, before we keep going, I've seen a couple of people ask how they can support DataRepublican, because I know I put it in the description of this video. I don't know if it shows up on live. It probably will show up on the recording of this, but it's very simple. Her website is DataRepublican.com. DataRepublican.com. Go to her website, donate to the work that she's doing.
Yes, and make sure if you can subscribe to her on X, and there's exclusive content there. I think she has a Substack too. Don't you have a Substack too? I forget about Substack. But also she has hand-signed bottles of whiskey that are really cool. And I think we put that link in there too, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody needs to make sure that you check out all of her stuff. Support her however you can, because she's doing this for her career now. And she's making change. Her work is resulting in actual change in our government, actual funding being rescinded. And I mean, she's making a change.
That's right. That's right. I want to address this question that I saw in the comments because it's such a critical one. Can you explain why the left likes to keep kids from education? Folks, it's not that they want to keep kids from education. They actually want complete and total access to your children because they understand this one very important truth about children. If you can get the mind of a child, you will control them for the rest of their life. They recognize that if they can get an entire generation of kids educated into their version of authoritarian, totalitarian, socialist nonsense, then they will have this country for a generation and more. That's why education is so important for them to corrupt, to pollute, and to wholly own. Why do you think they hated the ideas of charter schools? Why do you think they hate the idea of public or private schools? Why do you think they fight so hard against homeschools? They do everything they can to keep your children in an environment where they can be educated in the way that they demand they be educated. And the number one thing they're trying to instill in them is that individuality, sovereignty is not a real topic. It's not a real thing. They expect to be able to teach your kids that it's okay for them to take everything from them.
And I just want to say really quick, DataRepublican didn't say any of that. I said all of that. She said she doesn't ever want anyone to feel like they're obligated. So I just wanted you guys to know that she doesn't want you guys to feel obligated to support her work or any of that. That was all me that said all of that.
And me.
She didn't,
That's us.
She didn't ask.
Look, she has never asked anybody for anything as far as I know. She's never come on our show and said, hey, can you guys help to promote my website? Never. We do it.
We beg her to come on our show.
Please
come on our show.
Because the work that she's doing is so critically important to the future of this country, to the future of your children and your kids' kids. It's critical that we understand these networks. I mean, we've spent the entire duration of over 4 months of podcast. We're on episode 48 right now, and almost every single episode has been dedicated to mapping out the color revolution. And she's able to do it with the push of a stinking button.
Yeah, because she knows.
Yeah, it's not quite that easy, but it's not quite that easy.
You know what I mean?
She knows technology. It takes me years to get the information that it takes her like minutes to get. I'll ask her.
Yeah, but it doesn't take her minutes to build the.
I'm like, dude, it would have taken me 2 weeks to find that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It didn't take her minutes to build the infrastructure to churn through this data. No.
The fact that she's so smart, she's an actual genius, you guys. There was something somebody posted I saw in the chat and said that our account's at like 9,000, you guys. Her being here is crazy. I can't even believe that she takes time out of her day to come here.
That's awesome. All right. So do you want to move on to the other topic, to the Moab that was dropped on the heads of
what do you want to talk about?
Let's ask Jenica. What else about this topic do you want to get out? Do you want to drill into some of the findings that were out there? I know that there was a principal or a mayor from a North Carolina town that was found. Someone from a school district, school board was identified in this. Do you want to go down that path or stay higher level?
Yeah, she's talking about Minneapolis. She said, we're noticing with Minneapolis, it's pretty concerning, and other anti-ICE groups. And there's the North Carolina one too, right?
Yeah. So North Carolina. Here, let's throw this up here real quick. Right. Add this one.
And you guys, just another caveat here. This is just like friends talking. This isn't like a super structured podcast. We just have our little discussion.
Wait, you mean you're supposed to structure podcasts?
Well, you're a little OCD and you try to have an outline, but
I don't even try anymore. There's no point because it doesn't work.
I don't want anyone watching for the first time to think that we're just laid back. We have discussion. We talk about all the information. Okay, she said one thing that she notices is that usually PSL and FRSO, which is Freedom Road Socialists. Oh, wait. Yeah. Organization. Wait. Freedom Road. Yeah. That's what it is, I think. And those communist organizations don't really like working together with the more establishment nonprofits like Indivisible or SEIU, which is the Service Employees International Union. She said, for example, the protests last year, you had pro-Palestine protests being organized by PSL, and that's Party for Socialism and Liberation. She said then another set being organized by more establishment groups, but this time around, they're definitely cooperating. The communists and the democracy groups are cooperating together. She said, which she finds super ironic and super concerning. But I've been telling you guys this whole time that they don't necessarily all have the same end goal, but they do have one roadblock, and that roadblock is the Constitution of the United States and President Trump and our constitutional republic. And so they can all work together for the common goal of bringing that down. And then they can fight at the end over whose policy and things are going to actually prevail. She said that
we see that all the time. I mean, we've seen that. We saw that in the Iranian Revolution. That's exactly how the Ayatollah Khomeini came into power. He used a conglomerate of socialist and feminist organizations and labor unions and student groups and brought all of the normal, typical leftists together in their Iranian Revolution. And then he crushed every single one of them when they were done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for those of you on the left that think you're in a holy alliance with Islamists, you're going to have your heads lopped off when this is over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to work out like you think it is. And she said that half of these democracy groups, and we say democracy because when you listen to these people talk and have their conferences and their Zoom calls and all the things they do when they have these meetings, they always talk about democracy, and they've completely changed the definition. So it's not democracy like you think. It doesn't mean voting to get what you want. Their idea of democracy is not what you think. And it says,
can we stop real quick and define their definition of democracy? We've done this multiple times, but I think it's critical for new ears, to people that don't fully understand what the left means when they talk about democracy. And there's probably a lot of different definitions, but the one that resonates the most with me is authoritarian administrative control over the government, meaning they have people in positions inside call it the deep state or the administrative state, that are unelected, they're not nominated, they're hired, they're career people in the government that will do whatever they want. There's no accountability whatsoever. And they control the movement of the government, which means the movement of our culture, our society, our way of life, through people who are not accountable to anybody except for these NGOs that put them in these places. That's democracy. Democracy to them is control through an unelected class of bureaucrats.
yes. And she said that their definition of democracy is the continuity of institutions which safeguard democracy. She researched this heavily, extremely extensively, for her book that she wrote that's going to be coming out soon. Another plug. And she said that these groups, a lot of these Democrat groups that are promoting the democracy, they were founded to fight communism in the first place. And now they're all working together, and it's all very overt now, which is totally new to her, because it used to be, they've been doing this for decades, but now it's extremely overt. They're, like I've said, they're at the 2-yard line, and they're not hiding it anymore. Yeah. And she said now you have the Democrats outright promoting these groups, Obama telling people to donate to the proxies of the communist groups, which was crazy the other day when he reposted, after she'd just exposed this whole group, all of the, what was the name of that group? I don't remember.
Don't know.
I'm going to ask her.
Anyway, is DataRepublican looking into 50501? Yeah, everyone's looking into them. Yeah. Like everyone and their mom is looking into this organization because they're like at the forefront of the color revolution. And there's a lot of these NGOs that are kind of working on the background in the shadows, but that is one of the ones that are out front.
It was the CHUFT and the Immigrant Women's of Minnesota thing,
Yep.
all that whole immigrants group, which that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we've all been down. Lisa, and you can follow Lisa on X at I am Lisa Logan.
We
Lisa,
need to have her back on, by the way.
yeah, we were talking about that earlier today.
Good.
But Lisa and DataRepublican and I have gone down the rabbit hole of the immigration stuff, because that's another one of the pipelines, like we've talked about with the college kids and the leadership programs and all of those things. The immigration pipeline is another important piece to all of this radicalization. But you had Obama, posting about the CHUFT site right after, like the day after she exposed it all. He was so brazen. He went and posted telling people to go donate to these people on the front lines in Minnesota. And it was directly to the group that she'd exposed. And it's not even a US group. The CHUFT donation site is a foreign donation site. And Hillary Clinton's pushed it. Obama's pushed it. All of these high ranking Democrats are supporting all of this.
Well, that would have run through Act Blue previously. And I think because they know that Act Blue is not a safe place to donate anymore.
They're still using the Act Blue. They're using the CHUFT for Frontline. It's like a GoFundMe type of site, and they're using it to get money to the front lines to pay these protesters and to purchase things. I don't know exactly. But she did say that their definition of democracy is the continuity of institutions which safeguard democracy. And she said it has become self-referential. She said, criticize institutions and you criticize democracy. And that's exactly what they've done. They will criticize everything is inherently racist. The United States system is racist, but you can't criticize the actual institutions like the universities or any of the indoctrination propaganda machines.
Can I just point out the fact that this view, I mean, obviously everybody knows this, right? But I just want to state it for the dumbasses that maybe, if there are any left out there that don't understand this. This concept of democracy is completely antithetical to the Constitution, because there's nothing in the Constitution that even imagines this continuity of institutions, because there are no institutions. There is the executive branch, which is the president is the executive branch, right? He's the unitary executive. It's not the EPA. It's not the State Department. It's not any of that. It's the president. And then there is the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court. And then there's some other activities that go on below that. And then there's the legislature, the legislative branch. That's it. There is no continuity of institutions. There's continuity of government under the Constitution, under the articles that are laid out in the Constitution. None of that other shit. So everything that they're talking about while they're defending and protecting democracy is actually a direct frontal assault on the Constitution itself.
That's such an important point, and it's one that we have to continue to make. If you want to push democracy in America, you are in violation of the Constitution of the United States. It's that simple.
Well, and democracy doesn't mean voting to them, like she said.
No. That's not what
because you vote in a constitutional republic. Democracy doesn't mean you're just voting for somebody. In a lot of socialist states, you vote. Doesn't mean your vote matters, but you can actually go to the poll and vote, just like they did in Venezuela, and they had machines that did the work of changing your vote. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Did that here too, but
well, as a matter of fact, it's pretty interesting that we're seeing a lot of activity on that front now, isn't it? After Maduro was arrested, but I digress.
She said, I see people are paying to ask questions. I didn't, because I'm not paying attention. And when I do, I see people commenting saying there's a whole bunch of people watching, and I don't like that.
Are paying to ask questions?
Yeah, she said, I see people are paying to ask questions. Is DataRepublican looking into 5150? She said, yeah, that one has an interesting history. It was started on Reddit. It got a bit viral, and then the Democracy Aid people appear to have done a hostile takeover from the original Redditor. He wrote a long post complaining about the hostile takeover. He partnered with someone who thought would give them institutional backing, and then they just stole the 5051 brand and kicked him out and worked with Reddit to demod him. And then in a video, which I found, actually, I think it was Lisa that found it. She said the Democracy people.
Can we pause there for just 1 second? Can we just bask in the irony of a bunch of radical socialists being upset that somebody took over their means of production Can we just enjoy for just a second the irony of some idiot on Reddit who's mad that somebody took something that he created to use it for themselves? You all suck at life. You suck at life. You're bad at it. You suck at it.
That's great.
Continue.
Well done.
That's awesome. But
Great observation. Love it.
But she said that the Democracy Aid people took credit for organizing the February 5th protests, which was the first major 50-51 initiative. She said, so I think 50-51 is pretty much the same as ex-USAID workers now. She said, and yeah, they're using 50-51 as a vehicle to enact color revolution here. That's exactly what is happening. That's exactly what's taking place. And if you go back and watch our other episodes, when we talk about IMIP, the Intermovement Impact Project, you have all of these people, these groups, they were all a little bit separate, decades ago when they started the federal plan and Agenda 21 and then eventually Agenda 2030. This, again, the UN is a huge influence here. You've had all these organizations and they were all kind of separate. But as Trump took power in 2016, they all freaked out. And that's when they started coming together, when Koch and Soros came together and started the New Pluralists. And it just went from there. And now you have this whole organized network that is literally like a cancer. It just keeps multiplying and multiplying. It's malignant. I don't know how we're going to get rid of it. Chemo is not working.
This might be a good time.
Haven't even started treatment on it yet, frankly.
Well, we've started a little bit.
This might be a really good time to ask Jenica our theory question, because I think people wonder, like, why would they even want to do a color revolution? What is it about Donald Trump that scares these people so much? Why would they be interested in this? Why would they want to destroy the United States as we understand it? For what purpose?
I told you.
While she's typing her answer, hopefully she got that. But while she's typing her answer, I'll say my opinion is that Donald Trump can't be controlled. And these people have a very hard time not having control and power and pulling the strings of everyone. No matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat in office, these people, these UN people, these, World Economic Forum people, all of these people have been the ones pulling the strings regardless. And Donald Trump isn't controllable. I think that scares them.
Okay. Can I pose a theory? A DataRepublican, Jenica. I'm curious if you follow along with this or not. But one of the things that came out in the Epstein files, and we will probably get to this if we have time tonight. One of the things that came out, SK sent this over to myself and Nam. I think it was on Sunday, maybe it was Saturday, as we were texting back and forth, and she was spending hours and hours digging through the Epstein files. And I think we might be the only people that have talked about this so far. I haven't seen anyone else comment about this. But this document right here, or document, this image showed up in the Epstein files. Do you guys remember the video I did about this? If you watch me on TikTok, you don't remember because they censored it. They took it down after about 15 minutes, but it's been all over the place on X and over on Instagram. This is a photograph of a framed news clipping from the New York Times that was included in the Epstein 3.5 million document file dump on Friday. And it says, U.S. attacked, hijacked jets, destroy Twin Towers, and hit Pentagon in a day of terror. Look at this photograph. This is something that Jeffrey Epstein had framed and allegedly had mounted in one of his properties. So if we go back and we take the time to understand who Jeffrey Epstein has been throughout his entire career, from his time at Bear Stearns, where he learned how to launder money, and he worked for nation states, and he worked for black operations, and he was funding and financing a lot of these things that were happening around the world, his involvement in the Iran-Contra scandal. Jeffrey Epstein was a money man for these organizations that were doing this stuff around the world. And come to find out that he had almost a celebratory picture hanging on his wall like he was framing some of his most favorite work. I wonder, and I'm curious if Jenica has an opinion on this. I wonder if everything that has happened to Donald Trump in this country since he came down the golden escalator in 2015 has to do with the need to cover up that photograph and the people that were behind it. Because you know it's the same people that have been behind color revolutions all around the world. You know it. You know that it's the same people who were trying to take this country in a very dangerous direction decades ago. You know it. Is that the reason why they had to remove Donald Trump? Is that the reason why the Russian collusion hoax and every other hoax that happened after that occurred? Is that the reason why Democrat after Democrat after Democrat after Democrats continue to bubble up to the surface every time you get a deeper look into these documents? Is this the reason why he was protected so deeply and so heavily by Democrat administrations for the last two decades?
Not just Democrat administrations, Bush administration. I mean, Republican administrations too.
Well,
let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's
he
be
was a
clear.
Democrat. But yes.
Well, no, he was
continue.
he wasn't. No, he was a Democrat. There's no question about that. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was part of the deep state, right? And what I mean by deep state is the intelligence state, the regime change state that's
he was the money man
for decades. He was the money launderer. He was how money was moved from one account to the next, one rich person to the next person, so that these operations could unfold. Every single person that was involved in the Russia collusion hoax from the intelligence community knew who Epstein was and was probably at least tacitly okay with what Epstein did.
Many of them were courting
they all
his
knew about
support. Many of them were actively courting his support after they knew who he was and what he was doing. So I just asked the question. Is that why they need to destroy Donald Trump? And is that why all of these organizations is that one of the reasons why all these organizations are putting everything that they have into trying regime change?
Well, I have a lot here, and Lisa has entered the chat.
Oh no!
It's going to be a difficult.
Lisa, do you want to bring her on? Is she free?
Keep track.
Probably
I don't
not.
think she's free.
Okay.
But DataRepublican said because Trump erodes trust in institutions. She said ultimately people have debated where sovereignty comes from. Like, for example, Schmidt famously defined sovereign as he who makes the exception, but all sovereignty is ultimately downstream of consult. And she said so much of institutional erosion is because we just don't trust them anymore. They aren't executing. She said, remember, democracy is defined as institutional continuity. So if Trump is eroding trust in institutions, that's a problem for them. And she said, Lisa said, I think they're so afraid of Trump because he's America first and they're all globalists. He represents a tilt towards populism where the people stand up against the established order. And then she said, so DataRepublican said, remember, democracy is defined as as institutional continuity. So that is exactly why they say Trump is a threat to democracy, because he erodes legitimacy, he erodes consultation of those institutions. She said, I'm not sugarcoating this. This world is getting to a very scary place. She said they are responding to legitimacy erosion by increased coercion, but they are crumbling at the same time. She said, add in all the AI stuff. I think we're just going to have to completely get rid of our mental model of nation states and even economic models. It's going to be simultaneously hyper centralized and hyper individualistic. And we know, based on all of these meetings we've listened to and all the research we've done into this big organization that's gotten all of this network of networks for the movement of movements, we know that one of the things that they talk about is the economy. And we know that they want an abundance economy, and they want an economy based on your subjective view. Basically, if you've had the level of racism that you've experienced, they want everything based on equity.
And this is why Donald Trump walking into Davos a week and a half ago and giving the speech that he gave, smacking Europe around, smacking Denmark around, was so critically important, because he and his team went in there and they reset everything that these leftists are trying to accomplish. Everything that SK just said, they walked in to Davos and said, yeah, we're doing it this way instead. We are going to move to a place of national sovereignty where we have control over our own hemisphere and you guys don't have a say in it anymore. And as a matter of fact, it would do you well, Europe and everybody else, to do the same thing.
Well, I mean, it's worth mentioning that President Trump has not changed his message since long before he even ran for president about national sovereignty, about immigration, about manufacturing, about reshoring, all of this stuff. He's not changed his message about any of this. In fact, he's gotten bolder about it and he's gotten smarter about how to implement it. So when they came right out of the gate throwing fists the way that they did in 2016, it's because they knew that he was going to be an existential threat to their view of this democracy. There's absolutely no question in my mind about that. But what is not surprising, though, I want everyone to take notice of this simple fact. Everywhere you look, every single crisis or chaos you think you see going on in this country is 100% manufactured by these same people.
That's right.
We started this discussion. We started this discussion on seditious conspiracy engaged in obstructing ICE, enforcing immigration law, and it took about 15 minutes for us to get all the way back to the exact same people doing the exact same things. They're just doing it in a different way, in a different medium. And now they're employing innocent people and getting them killed to do it. Minnesota, North Carolina, LA, Stop ICE, all these other ICE license plate reading moron dumbasses out there, they're all being used by these same people. It's never ending. It's like we can't get away from these people. We can't get away from them if we wanted to. I don't understand it.
Cannon fodder. That's what they are.
And just 1 second, speaking of the World Economic Forum in Davos, DataRepublican did a great interview with Larry Taunton, and you can find him on YouTube. I think it's called Ideas Have Consequences, maybe. But it's Larry Taunton when she went to Davos.
She was in Davos?
I think she, yeah.
Wow.
And she did a live with her interpreter too from the hotel. And I think it might be in her highlights. Is it in the highlights? Hopefully. But her and data interpreter did a live from the hotel room and it was great.
Awesome. Yeah. So do we even want to, did she have something to add? Looks like she might be adding something.
Oh, we were having a side conversation. Okay. I wasn't paying attention. And
Got it. Do we even want to do the Epstein Moab stuff? Or do you think that we just kind of like crushed it for the night and we should just pack up and go home?
I don't know. What do you think, DataRepublican?
Do you want to stick around for some Epstein fun?
I'll ask her.
All right. Because I want to have some fun dragging these morons who have been begging for the Epstein files for the last 9 months. We warned them. Yeah. I know I tried to warn them. I know Nom warned them. As a matter of fact, Nom, you might have lost a few accounts on TikTok trying to warn these idiots.
I did. I told you. I said, listen, every time you do this, you find more Democrat bodies laying at the bottom of the Epstein well. I don't know why you keep doing this to yourself.
She said, yeah, I'm out. I'm staying out of the Epstein files. They're just gross, and other people are doing a good job of covering them.
All right. Hold on. Before she goes, DataRepublican,
she said, I saw the email. You guys, if you don't know this about DataRepublican, she's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I saw the email about black shrimp and white shrimp, and I just noped out of there.
Noped out of there.
That's awesome.
Listen, she is fantastic. We absolutely love her. Welcome back anytime. We will do whatever show, whatever format, whatever content she wants, if she wants to do it at any time. So
thank you so much. And now, folks, you're getting ready to watch our audience go zoop.
Yeah, right.
Right back into the tank.
Good to have you, DataRepublican. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
For those of you guys that came to see DataRepublican, stick around because we're going to have some fun with the idiots who thought it would be a good idea to try to pollute the Epstein files with a bunch of crap, thinking they could convince the American people that Donald Trump did something wrong, even though he didn't. And all we found was a whole bunch of Democrats doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. We warned you. We warned you, and you didn't listen because you're stupid. You're stupid. Like, look, many of us have been researching the Epstein files for a very long time. When they started talking about SA assaults with 13-year-olds back in 2016, we started paying attention to this. We have been studying this stuff for years.
Now,
So
why
we-
would we do that? Hold on, real quick. Why would we do that? Why would we look deeply into the allegations that Donald J. Trump might have essayed a bunch of or sexually assaulted a bunch of young girls? Because we're not freaking animals, and we wouldn't elect a freaking animal like that. That's why.
No, we don't intentionally elect child sniffing P3DOs who have all kinds of nasty things in their background like you do, because you guys have done it over and over and over again. Instead, we want to verify these people are who we think they are. So we research this.
I just want to say really quick, for those of you in the comments on X, make sure you guys follow Questionable Gardener. He's really good too. And he's posted the link to the Larry Taunton interview with DataRepublican.
I love this question. Do all of you guys have Trump's ear? Is the Trump administration in the loop? No.
Maybe.
They're watching, folks. They're watching. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know who they're watching.
They pay
Listen,
attention.
Every single thing that we talked about here, and when we started about the stop ice and everything that was scraped out of there, and all the work that was done to figure out who those people are and their identities, that was all handed to the FBI and the DHS and all those other agencies. So yes, I mean there are channels for all of this stuff to get to them. What they do with it, we don't know, right?
That's right. I'm going to go back to the question that I posed to DataRepublican. And by the way, I loved her very intelligent, very sophisticated response. But I'm going with the 9/11 hoax. I'm going with the 9/11, not hoax. I'm going with the 9/11 conspiracy. I am convinced that the reason why the people who were involved in trying to destroy Donald Trump from the moment he came down the escalator, yes, he was a threat to their continuity. Yes, he was a threat to their status quo. Yes, he was a threat to their agenda. But if there's one thing this man was a threat to, because he had already done it, it was exposing them for the things that they were doing to kids. It's that simple. Donald Trump was deeply involved in helping Bradley Edwards? Is that the attorney's name? Down in Southern Florida, prosecute
Mathis.
Jeffrey Epstein. Not prosecute. He was involved in the civil cases against him. He was involved in that. He's the only one who sat down with him willingly and said, what do you want to know? I'll tell you everything there is to know. He was the only one. Nobody else wanted to sit down with him. There is one person in elected office today, only one, who's had opportunities to release documents and did.
Yeah.
Every
The
other
only
one had an opportunity. And to date, we're talking about over 4 million documents released.
Do you know
Over
what?
4
Do
million.
you know what I heard today? You know what I heard? Because I was making that point to somebody, and they're like, "Well, where's the other 3 million?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
They don't care, because it's not about.
Have
it's
you
not
read
about
any of the?
truth.
Have you read any of these?
Do you know how I know that none of these people actually give a shit about any of these victims? Because the same people who are demanding the release of these files for the last 9 months, when they're released, don't believe that Donald Trump is not involved in anything criminal. And more importantly, these same exact people are the ones who are marching in the streets of our cities demanding that violent rapists and child predators be protected and remain in the country. It's the same people. On one hand, they want the release of the documents. On the other hand, they want the illegal immigrant who's assaulting children to stay in the country. They don't care about kids. They don't care about victims. They don't care about any of it. They thought they had an opportunity to get Trump because they never bothered to do any research. They never bothered to look at any of the allegations that were coming out back in 2016 when Yahoo, when BuzzFeed, when Politico, when all of those left-wing media
Jezebel.
outlets and Jezebel, they researched the Katie Johnson story. They researched the Jane Doe hoaxes, and they found them to be hoaxes. So now every time these idiots try to resurface this stuff today, we know it. Like, for example, there was a 203 in the $3.5 million documents that were dropped.
You mean a 302?
302, sorry, a 302 that talks about graping a 13-year-old. And wouldn't you know, it's the exact same Katie Johnson case. If you have to continue to go back and reboot the same hoaxes, you've lost. You have already lost.
This is my issue with the stuff that's come out. I've looked through a lot. I mean, not a lot. I can't even say a lot of it, but I've spent some time looking at it and obviously years researching it, reading the court documents that were available, all those things. I don't understand. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't just release files to the public, because people are actual idiots and they don't understand the difference between some rando calling into an FBI tip line and making up some stuff, or being paid to call in and make up some stuff, which we've seen happen in the past. They don't understand that these have been investigated. These people were not found to be credible. You know, some of them were found to be mentally ill. You have people making wild claims, and then you have the people just screenshotting the actual tip that was called in and not the actual result of the investigation, which is this person's batshit crazy.
So is that me that's buffering? Am I buffering, or is that SK?
No, I hear you just fine. That's SK. She's stuck. Oh, that's not a. There she is. Hi, you're back. No, I mean, this is what's so crazy about it, because what I was dealing with today in comments was people. I'm like, listen, you've got 4 million of these documents now. How many of them have you read? Well, none. Well, like, well, the information's definitely in the other 3 million that they haven't released. And
they said that after the last batch was released.
I know it's the exact. Listen, it's Q all over again, where you're going to continue to make claims. You're never going to actually produce any evidence. I mean, it's Candace, it's Q, it's all of this stuff all over again. They're going to continue to string them along to think that, yeah, we just need one more dump, and you're going to have Trump, even though everything that we have seen exonerates President Trump. Everything. And I still need someone to explain to me how, when you had these people who have, I don't know, put everything on the line to engage in treason and some cases, definitely years-long seditious conspiracy. They've basically put their entire necks on the line, where they could be hanging until dead for the work what they have done. If there was incriminating evidence in those files, you tell me they wouldn't have been released.
The problem is they tried to insert incriminating evidence in the file, and they were so stupid that they inserted ridiculous things like an allegation that Donald Trump buried a dead child on a golf course that he didn't own for a decade.
Right. 10 years before he owned it. 10 years before that was even a golf course and he owned it, is when he buried a dead child on that property. Right. And that's no different than the claim of the boat up there at Lake Michigan. Yeah. That was years before. I mean, it's just, it's stupid.
It's stupid. Or the FBI prank calls.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to wonder, frankly, if these weren't like, shoved in there to make people just look really dumb when they brought it up. Like what? Like what? Come on.
So I was on X today and I came across this, what looks to be like a timeline. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but as I start thinking about this question of what role did Jeffrey Epstein play in funding and financing the attacks of 9/11? And did that role require him to become the most protected person on the planet? I had to start looking at things that were done to continue to protect him. All right. So think of it this way. All right. Yes, Trump knew Epstein. He admitted it himself. The photos of them together are from before 2003. And by the way, this is from an account called A Man of Memes. So if you want to go check it out, you can. A Man of Memes.
Am I supposed to be showing this?
No, I don't have it in there. It's on my phone because it's like three screenshots long. It says in 2004, Trump not only barred Epstein from Mar-a-Lago estate, he also placed a bid on property in Palm Beach that Epstein was looking to purchase. And that's the reason why they didn't like each other. Or that's the reason why Epstein started to hate him, is because of the property and because Donald flipped on him. In 2005, Trump revealed Epstein's secrets to an investigation in Southern Florida. In 2006, 2 of Epstein's victims confirmed they knew Trump had barred Epstein from his estate in Mar-a-Lago. In 2009, Bradley Edwards, prosecutor of the Epstein case, made a public statement that Trump was the only individual who helped in the prosecutions against Epstein. Per victim testimonies on the newly released Epstein-Maxwell documents reveal that Trump was not seen on Epstein's island anywhere with Epstein. The newly released documents show that the FBI withheld victim evidence in 2009 and in 2014. So the FBI had evidence in 2009 and 2014 and withheld them. Who was president in 2009 and 2014? Anyone?
Barack Hussein Obama.
And do you recall who Barack Hussein Obama's chief White House counsel was?
Katherine Rumler.
You mean the woman whose name shows up in the Epstein files more than any other single person on the planet? That Katherine Rumler? Yeah. The newly released. Okay. So who was the FBI director in 2009? Anyone? Do you know? Do you know who the FBI director was?
In
Wasn't
2009.
Comey yet, was he?
In 2009?
It wasn't Comey yet, was it?
No, it was Mueller. You know, the
Bob
Russian
Mueller.
hoax investigator,
Mhm.
Mueller, Bob
Mueller.
Mueller, who was the FBI director at the time that the FBI withheld information on Jeffrey Epstein. Who was the FBI director in 2014? Do you know?
Hold on. Everybody stop. Listen, guys, just stop the presses. Stop the presses. As discerning human beings, we have to stop saying in the files. What the actual hell does in the files mean? Because there are so many people whose names appear in the files and they've done absolutely nothing wrong at all. Your name showing up in these files, this is basically Jeffrey Epstein's like entire life laid out bare for everybody to see. He had correspondence, he had colleagues, he had people that he barely knew that were reaching out to him, that he reached out to. What does in the files mean? If you can't answer that question honestly, please stop. This is not an attack on Wendy. Okay, listen. I want, this is more for the leftists that are out there who say Trump's name is mentioned 5,000 times in the files. Who the fuck cares? None of that is incriminating that he did anything wrong. Absolutely none of it.
That's right.
So I don't know if this is true or not, but who cares unless there's an allegation that the director of or the producer of the Melania was assaulting underage girls. Those are two very different things in this case. You have to understand that.
Well, and that was one of the biggest pieces of hesitation, is like, if you just arbitrarily dump thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of documents, there's going to be people in there that didn't do anything wrong. And our public is so
almost all of them.
Yeah, most of
actually.
them. Almost all of them. All right. So again, do we remember who the FBI director was in 2014? It was Jim Comey. Jim Comey. So who were two of the biggest Russian collusion hoaxers in the first Trump administration? Robert Mueller and Jim Comey, both FBI directors that had access to FBI files about Jeffrey Epstein, and they withheld them. Who led the Russian collusion hoax against Trump? Who was Mueller's key witness during the Russian collusion hoax? Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember George Nadler? Remember George Nadler, who was recently sentenced to 10 years in prison for pedophilia, having dozens of images and footage of children being abused? That George Nadler was his primary witness.
I had forgotten about George Nadler.
Who was the Secretary of State under Obama at the time that the FBI had access to this information? Hillary Clinton, the one who funded and paid for and developed the Steele dossier and the Russian collusion hoax. Who fired them? Donald Trump is the one who fired Jim Comey. Donald Trump is the one who arrested Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And he's the only elected leader who had the opportunity to release a single document and has released over 4 million of them. So I am not at all surprised when I open up my social medias on Friday and I see a bunch of Democrats spilling out of the Epstein files. Do you guys want to run through some of some of these people that showed up?
Sure.
And this is Eska, you look bored. Are you bored with this topic?
No, I was looking at other stuff, but I wanted to tell you guys that there's a hilarious comment on X that says, "How's that guy on the right in two places at once?"
It's a magic trick. We've pulled it off for 48 years. It's the craziest magic trick ever.
Yeah, in our case, the magic trick was there was 2 eggs. They were both fertilized, and next thing you know, there's twins that come down the chute or get pulled out. Whatever happened.
Down the chute.
That's
Your
how
mom's
that
watching this, cringing right now.
Patriot Mamaw loved hearing that.
Patriot Mamaw's heard this story for the last 48 years,
Down
so
the
she's
chute.
well familiar with it. Do you guys want to take a look at some of the people who showed up in the Epstein files? Many of these you guys know, but some of them maybe you don't know, because I think it'll be fun, because one common theme is gonna appear. The people whose names showed up that we've surfaced, and there's a lot more of them, are the ones who are right now trying to destroy the president. And we're deeply involved in trying to destroy him from the minute that he came down the escalator. So I asked the question again.
You got to take a breath so others can weigh in here, right?
Oh,
'Cause I
sorry.
know you're telling a story, but there's a really interesting comment here of how many of Hillary's. You guys remember how many emails she destroyed? She
Ooh.
bleach bit. They were actively under subpoena. Was it congressional subpoena? No, it was DOJ subpoena. It was
Yeah,
by
they
the
were being
FBI.
It was being investigated by the DOJ.
by the DOJ.
33,000 of them.
33,000 of them is what she destroyed, risking everything in the process. Maybe she knew she was protected, but how many of that's a really great question. How many of those emails were the same people having the same conversations of all this? It's a good question. I don't know. We're just asking questions. I don't know. No, but we kind of know. Maybe.
Oh God! Don't be fake and gay.
Speaking of not knowing, hey Nam, can you pull up Epstein 11? Because this is somebody that showed up in the files. You know, speaking of knowing, do you guys know who John Mappin? Do you guys know who John Mappin is? I don't know a lot about this guy.
We've talked about him on here before with ties to Candace Owens.
I know Candace Owens' best buddy. The guy who I think his family were the ones who designed like jewelry for the crown or something like that. But he's also this firebrand over in Britain who is doing everything he can to keep the grift of Candace Owens going on. Did you know that John Mappin just so happens to be on the flight logs? Now, I'm not making any allegations that he did anything wrong, but we're just asking questions. Why is John Mappin in the files? Anyone? That's weird.
I don't know.
That's
Is there
weird.
any evidence against the guy? Is there any proof? Because if there's no proof, I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I mean, I don't know. What about, can you bring up number 2? No, I'm sorry. Number 3, Epstein 3. Wait, no, what's going on here? No, my bad. Epstein 1. Because this is probably one of the most shocking things. And it dovetails with a comment that I saw in here. Somebody said, I believe that the pizza theory was real.
Yeah, well, someone had asked about Pizzagate, and yeah. All right, let's go
Are
get
we
into
allowed
it.
to talk about that, or are we gonna like?
Well,
get our
let's just
stuff
leave
taken
this on the
down?
screen. Let's just say that information that came out in the 3.5 million documents seems to suggest that that's true.
There are correlations to keywords that match that are used in this documentation, and yeah, so okay.
In the comments on YouTube, Julie Smith said October 2016, the FBI discovered approximately 650,000 emails on a laptop belonging to former Congressman Anthony Weiner while investigating sexting allegations.
That's right.
That's the evidence I want to see. Where is the Weiner laptop, and why haven't we seen that?
Well, you release of that.
Well, hold on. Yeah, but hold on. You remember why that's such an important trove of information? Because he was married to
Uma Abedin,
and
who's Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman.
right-hand woman, and every Huma Abedin email and BlackBerry email had been backed up to that Wiener laptop. All of them.
That's right.
So every
Uh-oh.
communication between her and Hillary Clinton had been backed up to Wiener's laptop. That's why that was such a significant
Uh-oh.
story.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling that we have not seen the last of that laptop.
No, I'm ready for that to come out. Why are people not demanding that information? Where are
I
the
think it's
House
coming.
and Senate Democrats demanding the Wiener laptop be released for all of us?
Dude,
to
you can't
see?
you can't even get them to vote to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress
Oh,
for disobeying.
They gave
I saw.
in. Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I saw the Clintons. Their attorneys kept sending James Comer a strongly worded letter about trying to tighten the scope of the types of questions they could ask. I'm sorry, no, fucker, no.
Yeah, and he
Absolutely
gave
not.
them both a double-barreled middle finger and said, "No,
He
we're not
did.
doing that. You're going to come in and
Yeah.
you're going to testify, or you're going to go to jail," which is what should
Yeah,
happen.
just
All
like-
right, Nam, can you
Yes,
pull up?
People are asking if Huma Abedin is married to Alex Soros.
Yes.
Now, yes.
Yes,
The
that
answer is
same
yes.
woman. Yes. Yep.
All right, so
What do you wanna see here?
Patriot Princess just came in and gave me a note to let me know that my cat just puked on the bedroom floor, and I'm looking at her like, "Why
That's
are you
neat.
not cleaning that up?"
Because that's your job,
No,
Patriot Dad.
No.
that's her cat.
No,
That is
no,
her
no,
cat.
no,
That is
no,
not my
no,
cat.
No, no.
All right, let's pull up number 2, Epstein number 2, because this kind of dovetails along with Epstein number 1. So this is Nicki Minaj, who, by the way, has been just a bold warrior for truth lately. Have you guys noticed this? So Nicki Minaj says that your favorite artist has been practicing rituals, a satanic cult, where they take babies from other countries and do ridiculously ungodly, inhumane, disgusting, horrible, awful things to them. That was in the files. Do you know who they were talking about? They were talking about Jay-Z. They were talking about your favorite artists, the ones who, for the last 10 years, have been demanding that Donald Trump be impeached, be thrown in jail, be prosecuted, or worse. That's who she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even read this stuff, you guys. It makes me physically ill. I cannot even force myself to believe that this is true.
It's true. Allegedly.
I'm going to pretend like it's not because it makes me physically ill.
All right, Nom, can we kind of zip through these pretty quick? So let's do number 3. So number 3, you guys have heard about this one. Stacy Plaskett, sitting representative from the Dominican Republic. Non-voting, but nonetheless, I think she is a ranking member of a couple of committees. So she's the top Democrat in Congress on a couple of different committees.
Yes.
Well, not only
she's
did
been
we,
there the longest. Yep.
That's right. Not only did we know that she was deeply connected to Jeffrey Epstein because of the Dominican Republic and the relationships they had there, but it's even worse. Her entire political career is owed to this guy. She was texting with him during a committee hearing when Michael Cohen was testifying in front of Congress, and he was literally telling her what questions to ask. And they were asking him about who? What were they talking to Michael Cohen about?
They were asking about one of Donald Trump's assistants, Deborah Groff. Wait, which one was it? I don't remember.
But it had to do with the Stormy Daniels stuff, didn't it? Or was it? Yeah.
Rona Graff.
Yeah. So it was during testimony about Michael Cohen's knowledge of Donald Trump's involvement or behavior related to Stormy Daniels and the accounting records and the 34 felonies he was convicted of. Those felonies were designed specifically to take out Donald Trump. And yet Stacy Plaskett was texting with Jeffrey Epstein in order to develop the list of questions.
And just so everyone's aware, Michael Cohen is a convicted liar, and everything that he said in that courtroom was a big fat lie. And he didn't change his story about Donald Trump and the payment to Stormy Daniels until he hired Lonnie Davis, who's a Clinton family attorney. That guy's a liar. And I think there's been stuff coming out here recently about Cohen. I think he's not happy and he's getting wishy-washy again.
Yeah, he is. In fact, what he's come out and he said was Alvin Bragg Twinkies Alvin Bragg said the only reason he said the things he said about Trump was because Alvin Bragg offered him a
Well, we know
significantly
this.
reduced. Yeah.
Yeah, we know this. We all know this. All of us know this. Anybody that read the transcripts from that case knows that that was a bunch of bullshit. And that guy lied through his teeth the entire time. He couldn't even tell you the difference between the truth and a lie and when he was telling the truth and when he was lying. He cannot even keep it straight. He can't even define for you how he believes the truth to be or what he believes to be a lie.
That's right. All right, bring up number 4, because this one might surprise a few people.
It's already there.
It doesn't surprise me. Did you know that Senator Liz Warren's ex-husband is in the Epstein files? Did you know that? Senator Warren, who spent the last 9 months pounding the lectern and screeching like a banshee about the need to release the Epstein files, and her freaking ex-husband is in there. Did you also know that her ex-husband is the one who started a DNA testing company? I wonder what Jeffrey Epstein and the founder of a DNA testing company might have to talk about.
I don't know. Maybe all that stuff he was doing at those universities. That's Lisa's wheelhouse. Follow her.
Transhumanism.
I am Lisa Logan on X.
Gene
She's all up in
therapy.
that.
Transhumanism. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what they were doing.
All right,
Hey,
bring
by
up
the
number
way,
5.
if her ex-husband owns a DNA testing company, you'd think that she would have been able to figure out that she wasn't actually Cherokee like a lot earlier than
You know, it's funny.
that
The
she
article that I read about it
did.
made light of the fact that her
Yeah.
ex-husband owns a DNA company, and it said, not unlike the one that she used to find out that she has 0% Native American blood in her.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It
I'm
was pretty
actually
funny.
Cherokee, like card carrying Cherokee, and I think it's hilarious.
It is
that
funny.
She's not.
Card carrying Cherokee.
I am.
I
All right,
know
bring
that.
up number 5.
It's coming. It's coming.
All right, number 5. A verified 2012 dinner list sent to Jeffrey Epstein included major media Hollywood names like Clive Davis, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, Jerry Seinfeld, and so many more. That's right. Every single comedian, Hollywood producer, journalist, talking head that has spent the last 10 years telling you that Donald Trump is a P3DO and is trying to destroy the country were probably at that dinner with Jeffrey Epstein back in 2012, which, by the way, I might add, is after he accepted a plea deal for violating children.
Yep.
Ag. You guys,
It's
this
after.
whole topic makes me nauseous. I
It
can't.
should. It's supposed to. This one is probably my favorite.
I'd like
Can
to
you-
say this can be the last time we do it, but you know these morons are going to make us keep doing this over and over and over again
That's all
while they
have.
pretend they pretend like we haven't done hours of content showing them who really is involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Why don't they care about it? Well, that's stupid.
They don't care about the truth. They care about
No.
confirmation bias.
Yeah.
They care about being the propaganda parrots that
That's
they've
right.
been brainwashed to be.
Yeah.
We need
All right.
6, right?
Yeah,
we go
this
through all
sixth
these?
one. Yeah, we're gonna go through them all. The 6th one will make your mind just
Oh.
pop off your head.
I saw this is great. This is great. Old moron Mamdani didn't have anything to say about any of this today, did he?
Old moron Mamdani. Somebody went through his X account, and over the last year, they counted 25 times he demanded the release of the Epstein files. How many times do you think he's mentioned the Epstein files since Friday? Now, I haven't checked since
Why,
earlier.
Patriot Dad? Would he not care about?
I
them
don't
anymore?
know, because his mom is freaking mentioned in the Epstein files, and not just cursory. No. You see, back in 2012, I think 2009, his mother, the director of a film, hosted an after party for a film at Ghislaine Maxwell's house, in which Bill Clinton, Jeff Bezos, and a bunch of other really sick people were at. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was not there. At least that's what we're told, because somebody sent him an email right after. But nonetheless, why is moron Mamdani's mom hanging out with a woman who was credibly accused and is currently sitting in jail right now for being an accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein? Anyone? And more importantly, how in the hell does moron Mamdani end up being the mayor of New York City when his mom was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and his girlfriend just a few years ago? How? Anyone? Anyone? How's
Well,
that possible?
we all know the answer to this, right? It's because none of this is for the actual socialists and the Marxists. These guys get to do and behave and go and act any way that they want. None of these rules are for them. They're for everybody else. So moron Mamdani, he's going to pretend he's a socialist. He's going to be the first one to ever figure out how to implement socialism, even though there's trash piled up in the streets 30 days after this fucking retard has taken office. None of this matters.
Do you guys see the video I did on this? Do you guys see the video I did on this today?
You have a lot to say.
Well, first of all, New York City's fucking disgusting. And I just think that if you wear shoes in your house and you live in New York City, you're disgusting. But also, Diana, I'm going to be spicy here for a minute because you make a comment that says, if it makes you physically ill, imagine how it makes the kids feel.
Yeah.
Wish you guys would apply effort to what is happening. I don't know what that's supposed to say, but right now, instead of rehashing history. So, Diana, let me tell you something. I don't know when you got here, but we've been live for almost 2 hours, and we actually talked about what's currently going on, including all of the bombshell information that DataRepublican released about all of the ICE groups and all of the infiltration and all the things that have been going on, and information given to the FBI, along with the color revolution and the funding and all the things. We just started talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So if you have a problem and you don't like it, continue scrolling.
I don't understand what she means by this question. Actually, wish you guys would apply effort to what is happening trapped right now. It's probably a typo right now instead of rehashing history. All of this is history. You see, the reason why we have to continue rehashing history is because you people will not let it go. You continue to pretend like you're finding things in these files that don't exist. And then when the next dump shows up, and it's still not there, you're like, well, it's in the next one. Well, it's in the next one. I know that the next one is going to have everything that we know is there, even though it's not. We're not the ones who are doing this. It's you fucking morons that are doing this. I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, though I do get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing nothing but Democrat bodies laying at the bottom of the Epstein well. I get a ton of enjoyment of watching and dragging you fucking clowns all the way across the internet every single time we have to go through this. Is that what you meant by applying effort to what is happening right now instead of rehashing history?
Can we just give a round of applause to the Trump administration for locating and securing hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors who were snuck into the country illegally, trafficked into the country probably for some very disgusting purposes, and the Biden administration didn't give a crap about them. As a matter of fact, they actually facilitated these people being placed with known P3DOs and criminals and violent people. And the Trump administration, under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, have found thousands of them and have broken up pedophile rings, disgusting sexual assault organizations all over the country, while people on the fake-ass America First, black-pilled, dumbass group of people over on X are claiming nothing is happening. You know what's happening? Is they've been finding these kids. They've been locating these kids and they've been saving them. Tens of thousands of them. That's what they've been doing.
Not only that, but you guys have to understand the gravity of this situation with the unaccompanied minors. There were people that worked for organizations that were placing children, including places like Cherokee Federal, but I digress, and Catholic charities. There's a whole list.
And Lutheran and Jewish.
Yeah, these people were calling in into the administration to their tip line or whatever that they had set up. And they were reporting the fact that these organizations were not properly vetting the people that were taking these children. They were not doing the fingerprints. They were not doing any of these things. And there were up to over 500 children that were given to the same, whatever they're called, guardians, whatever. Over
Sponsor.
500 sponsor, whatever it's called. Over 500 at the same address to the same people. And these people were calling in. There were tens of thousands of tips called in to the Biden administration from people in these organizations saying this is not right. Something has to be done. And then these people would end up leaving their job. The Biden administration never looked into a single one of those accusations or claims that were being made. And the Trump administration came in and started going through all of those tips and started finding all of these kids.
More important, and we're going to move on here in a second, but more important, there was a couple whistleblowers that worked inside of government agencies who were blowing the whistle on this stuff, and they were targeted by the Biden administration. And they were punished by the Biden administration for pointing out the fact that hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors were snuck into the country. And I think we should all give the Trump administration a little bit of credit for quietly finding them and sending them home. All right, let's move on because we still have
real quick before you do. Yep, someone's asking. I'm sorry for asking it as I just got on, but where can I read the dump from DataRepublican on X at DataRepublican? Yep, that's the best place to look.
Kelly Hawks on X said 65,000 calls went unanswered from the last administration from children that were in danger. That comes from a hearing in Congress. Yep.
That's right.
You're correct. I just couldn't remember the exact number. I knew it was tens of thousands.
All right, pull up number 7. This guy was in there. And then quickly pull up number 8 for me. So pull up number 7 and then number 8. This guy is all over the place in the files. This dude. Everywhere, all over the place.
Duh.
This guy, George Clooney, all over the place.
His buddies, yeah, good friends, yeah.
Good friend. These two hads. I don't even know who these nasty people are.
Yes, you do. That's Jane Fonda over there.
And who's the other guy that looks
like not Jane Fonda? That's Hanoi Jane.
Who's the other guy that looks like a sphincter?
A sphincter?
Yeah, he looks like a sphincter.
De Niro.
De Niro. Did you know that those two are all over the files? Those two are probably the biggest critics of Donald Trump throughout his entire presidency. Their names are all over there, emailing people, invited dinners, all kinds of stuff. They're just everywhere. Two of the biggest critics of the president who will demand that he be arrested for being a P3DO and tried for treason against the United States. They're in the files. All right, let's bring up the next one. Number 10. These two. Holy crap.
Number 10, are you sure?
Yeah. These two.
Oh,
no, this is one.
My favorite. This is 10.
All right, bring up.
Did you mean number 9?
No, that's fine. Oh, yes, I did mean number 9. But let's stay with this one. We'll go back to number 9. This guy.
You guys know who these are, right?
Yeah. You guys know who this is. Do you guys know who this is?
She's all over it?
No. But Reid Hoffman is. Reid Hoffman is the guy who financed the court case or the civil case against Donald Trump by E. Jean Carroll. Reid Hoffman is. He's also the largest funder of the Democrat Party in the state of Wisconsin and is actively financially supporting the color revolution in the United States. He is the second most voluminous mention in the files. His name is missing. Sorry, real quick, SK. Katherine Rumler is listed number 1. Reid Hoffman is number 2.
Listen, one of our first episodes, we talked about Reid Hoffman and David Brock, and we brought up their playbook. We showed you their playbook. We talked about their meeting they had, all the financing that went to the women to make claims against Donald Trump, including E. Jean Carroll. We talked about George Conway. You should pull up the posts on the Lincoln Project about the Epstein files because, George Conway was involved with all of that, trying to, he's the one that got E. Jean Carroll, her attorney.
Yep.
Roberta Kaplan.
All right, bring it to number 10 or number 9. Number 9, sorry. We'll get through this quick, guys, I promise. Number 9. These two, you've already seen one of them.
Oh, this dirty D. These dirty D.
Billionaires Reid Hoffman and Bill Gates have both funded the lawfare against President Trump, from E. Jean Carroll to Norm Eisen. Every Epstein document dump gets worse and worse for them. It makes total sense. These two are literally paying for the color revolution that's happening in this country right now. They're all over the files.
Did you hear the story about Bill Gates?
That's what I was getting her to say.
Oh, yes.
This is so good. It's gross, but see, he had a penchant for Russian prostitutes. Bill Gates did.
Allegedly,
according to the documents, he allegedly had an issue, had a hankering for Russian prostitutes, and he would catch some venereal disease, allegedly, and he was allegedly seen to be writing Jeffrey Epstein and asking advice on how to get antibiotics and put them in his wife's food so she wouldn't know. Yeah.
Do you think maybe that has something to do with why his wife left him?
Allegedly.
Yeah, remember when they were getting a divorce, they were saying it had to do with Epstein's island, and I was like, there's no way this is real. This is just a conspiracy.
I'm sorry.
Dude,
It was
when
an
I saw
email
that, I
Epstein
was
sent
like,
to himself.
Wait.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was an email Epstein sent to himself. Thank you for correcting that, Kay Pasta. We want to be accurate here.
This
He would
next
send an
one
email to himself.
will blow
Yeah,
your mind.
so that Bill Gates in the dirty D.
This
Speaking
next
of
one will blow your
emails he
mind.
sent himself, didn't he send himself a whole list of people?
Oh yeah, he sent himself all kinds of emails. Yes, he did send himself a whole list of people.
Maybe we'll do that on Wednesday.
Maybe if you guys if these clowns force us to keep talking about this still, I swear. Listen, I know I'm going to do something. I'm going to be on social media tomorrow. It's going to be on X and be on TikTok, be on Instagram, and someone's going to be like, release the rest of the files, and I'm going to jump through my phone.
Crash out.
I'm going to crash the fuck out. I'm going to crash the fuck out.
I'm so over this topic. I'm like you with Candace Owens. That's how I feel about this topic. I can't stand this. I've been reading about this for what, at least a decade, over a decade, probably researching it, reading court documents, all the things. And now it's like people just care about it, and I'm over it.
We've already done this. Go to 12.
Yeah. I don't
This
think there is
next
12.
one,
I don't see a 12.
this next one will blow your mind.
Oh, there's a
This
12
one
video.
will blow your mind.
Got it.
No, don't do the video yet. We'll do the video in a second.
I'm not doing the video.
This one will blow
Yeah.
your mind, folks. Maine bombshell. Governor Janet Mills just got dragged into the Epstein files, accused of child abuse, cover-up, and cocaine trafficking in fresh SDNY docs. Tipster, personal connection, says she protected abusers in a horrific custody nightmare, plus old drug probe rumors explode. This is the woman who is running against the violent communist Prattner in the state of Maine for the Senate seat. And apparently she's got some things that she doesn't want people to know about either. She's also the one, if I'm not mistaken, as the governor right now, who's basically demanding that Trump not bring ICE agents into her state.
How has that worked out for anybody that's made that demand? Like, why do they even try?
I don't know. Maine is one of those states that signed that immigration compact I've been talking about.
Can you play the video real quick of her?
These people realize that they, like, as a state, you don't actually get to like sign binding contracts and compacts with international organizations. That's actually just against the law.
Well, I mean, Keith Ellison understood the whole supremacy clause and everything in his amicus brief that he filed with the Supreme Court in 2012.
It's not just about immigration. It's literally, I mean, you states have no legal authority to sign binding contracts, treaties, compacts, any of that stuff with international bodies or other countries. They can't. They actually can't do it. The only people who can is the federal government.
Let's
what's next?
Play 12 video.
Oh,
and I want you guys to listen very closely to this video clip. It's like 25 seconds, maybe.
Okay.
Do you have it?
Ready to go. It's coming.
Listen.
Referred to Governor Mills as he or him at least 6 times in that call.
Whatever is going on with him, radical left governor, he's announced the plan already. He wants to resettle 75,000 migrants into Maine. That's only because they told him to do so. He's weak and ineffective. And they told him to do so, and he's saying, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I will do it.
What does he know that we don't know? Trump does that a lot. He knows things that we don't know, and he drops little Easter eggs.
Maybe, just maybe, that might be one of the reasons why Janet Mills.
Hold on. Let's get another close look at James Mills. Is that a James Mills?
I mean, I can understand like 1 or 2 times.
Is this another Brigitte Macron situation? Are we going to go all Candace Owens on this?
Maybe. We're going to need a DNA. We're going to need a DNA test.
We're not doing that
on this one.
We're going
to need a DNA test on this.
I'll tell you who needs a DNA test, and that's Chuck Schumer's wife. Have you seen that one?
Oh, by the way, Chuck Schumer was all over the files too, because, he was,
over them.
scheduling dinners and stuff with Jeffrey Epstein after he had been, who else was? Hakeem Jeffries. He was trying to get in Jeffrey Epstein's back pocket.
Dollar Store Obama.
Yeah. All of them.
GP Wilco's asking a good question. Does he have an Adam's apple?
It kind of looks like there's one there.
Maybe.
Either that,
I-
it's just
I
like that
can't-
extra flappy
I can't
skin that some
expand
people
this.
get.
It's
Maybe.
called a turkey neck, and
Yeah,
we
it's
all
a goiter.
have it. Okay, you guys.
It's not a goiter. It's not a goiter.
It's-
We learned about
what are
a
they-
goiter in
what are those
third grade?
things? I can't remember what those things on turkeys are called. They're
The gobbler.
I call
no,
it the gobbler, but it's called
There's
something else.
I can't. They have an official term. I can't remember it.
You used to have turkeys. You used to
I know.
own
I know.
turkeys.
I don't remember. Anyway, that's all I have. There's one more in here, but we don't need to watch it because we all know that Obama's fixture, his chief White House counsel, Katherine Rumler, is the most prolific name to show up in the Epstein files. And it wasn't just as though he was emailing her from a business perspective. No. SK found a couple of really interesting emails with Katherine Rumler. It seemed like every time something exciting happened in her life, the first person she reached out to was Jeffrey Epstein.
Weird,
crazy. So-
including getting awards.
Mrs. Nam has told me on several occasions, and I'm the same way with her. Something important, if it doesn't actually happen until I tell my wife or till she tells me about it, right? Like your person, like your best friend, you always want to run to them and tell them what's going on. That's
Well, she ran to Jeffrey Epstein to tell him what was
Mhm.
going on. Like when
Turkey
she was given an award by the CIA for her work, or when she was being considered for the White House counsel job, hadn't yet been selected, but Obama was considering her. One of the first people that she emailed was Jeffrey Epstein, a guy that had just got out of jail for abusing kids. Weird,
He wasn't
isn't it?
actually in jail.
No,
got to
he
hang out
kind
at
of
home.
was.
He was
Had
in
like a
jail.
half
No.
jail.
He
Like,
was in
he
jail,
was in jail.
6 days a week. He got to leave for 12 hours a day to go to work. And his office was at like his attorney's office or something.
And there was a lot of people that were really upset because apparently his going to work also allowed him to get on his plane and go to his island. Did you know that?
I don't know about that, but
I think I read that somewhere.
I don't know about that, but I do know that the victims were really pissed because there's a court hearing in like March, and he reported to jail in January, and the victims didn't even know he'd accepted a plea deal, and the dude was already 3 months into his sentence.
That's right. And it begs the question, why was he the most protected person on the planet? And Nam, can you pull up the last one for me again real quick?
The last image,
The last image, which is
14.
14.
I can.
I am absolutely convinced that this
Oh,
is the
that
reason why Jeffrey Epstein was the most protected person on the planet. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced that Jeffrey Epstein.
Hold on, pause. I'm sorry. Questionable Gardner on X just said, dang, 16,000
Yeah.
live on X, top broadcast trending number 1. What is going on, you guys?
Well, that's the DataRepublican effect.
I told her that, and I was like, I was fine until I
So
looked up
that-
and somebody said there's 11,000 people watching. I'm like, why'd you have to tell me that? Now I'm
Well,
uncomfortable.
that was me. I shared the live stream out and I tagged DataRepublican since she was on.
All right,
A little bit of
folks.
self promotion there. But it's been, I mean, yeah, it went pretty bonkers.
This was an
pretty
important
bonkers over
show.
there.
This
It
was
was.
a really important show that everybody has to get your arms around. There are, can I just wrap with this? Our nerds are better than their nerds.
Like a lot, by a lot.
Like a
and
lot,
their
a
nerd
lot.
and their nerds are not good at it, and they're very clicky. Like they ran her. I mean, she was great at her job, I presume. I mean, she's fantastic at what she does now, and they basically ran her out of her career because they're a bunch of rabid, vile leftists who just aren't good at their jobs. They're not. Anyway, thank you, the Cyberella. Thank you for joining the podcast. Please like, subscribe, come back again. We do great stuff all the time, not just with DataRepublicans here.
That's right.
She comes to our show because we do great stuff. Actually,
But I
SK does
mean, it
great
is
stuff, but-
extra great when DataRepublican's here. And
It is.
Lisa, too. Don't forget to follow
Lisa,
Lisa,
too.
at I am Lisa Logan on X. Also, Questionable Gardner's in here in the comments, and he's pretty great, too. And Kelly Hawks. I'm seeing lots of my X people.
Well, we love you. Thanks,
Cool.
guys, for showing up. We will be back on Wednesday, same time, same place. Make sure you like and subscribe and share and do all that fun stuff. This was a lot of fun. We're out. Are we out? I think we're out. Yep, we're out.
See you
Later,
later,
y'all.
guys.
The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were. And here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcome should be.